We are going to show you how a duckling develops inside an egg and ultimately hatches. Eggs are collected from nest boxes that we place around the waterfowl gardens and put into an artificial incubator. Many of the birds in our collection are quite rare, and it's important that we ensure that we continue to breed good numbers of certain species, as many would be eaten by predators such as herons or crows if left in the wild. Once the eggs are inside an incubator, they're closely monitored every 2 or 3 days by a technique known as candling. This involves shining a bright light onto the eggs, which enables us to have a look inside them. We can tell if the eggs are fertile and healthy. This video is going to show you the different stages of how a duckling develops, with the hatching at the end. This is a fresh egg that has never been incubated. If this egg was to be cracked open, it would look like a normal egg with an egg white and yolk, just as you would eat at home. The yolk is the dark round mass, and there's also a very small airspace at the blunt end of the egg. We will now look at eggs that have been incubated. This is an egg that's been incubated for 1 week. Blood veins are visible, and this is how we know that the egg is fertile. These veins extend around a tiny kidney bean-shaped embryo. It's this embryo which grows into a duckling. The airspace is increased in size. This will continue to do so throughout the incubation, and the egg actually loses weight. This is because the egg loses water through evaporation, and the egg white and yolk are used up as a food source for the developing duckling. This is an egg that's been incubated for approximately 2 to 3 weeks. The main difference is that a lot more development has occurred. Blood veins are clear and much thicker, whilst the airspace is bigger. The duckling is now developing very quickly. This is an egg which has been incubated for approximately 4 weeks. This egg is very close to hatching, as the incubation of an average duck egg is 28 days. The contents of the egg are now very dark. This is because the duckling is almost fully grown, and the dark mass is its body crammed inside the eggshell. You may be able to see it moving occasionally. The airspace is massive, taking up about 1/3 of the egg, and it's when the duckling breaks into this airspace that it starts to hatch. This is what we call a pipping egg. The duckling has now entered into the airspace. This is called internal pipping. The duckling is now breathing for the first time, and it will start to use its bill to tap against the eggshell, using an egg tooth that is right at the end of its beak. This tooth will fall from the beak when it's just a few days old. The duckling kicks its way around the egg in a complete circle whilst chipping at the egg. A lid is formed which opens, allowing the duckling to hatch out. The duckling does get very, very tired, however, so it only chips the eggshell a bit at a time. It can often take up to 48 hours to hatch. When a duckling leaves the shell, it is very tired and will often simply rest in the incubator. It still has an internal yolk sac that it feeds on for the first day, providing the duckling with all the nutrients it needs to survive. Newly hatched ducklings are placed into a brooder, and a heat lamp is suspended above the brooder, and the ducklings huddle together to keep warm. They stand on rubber car mats, which keep them clean and dry, as most of the scattered food and dirt falls to the bottom of the pile of the mat. Once their down becomes waterproof, which is after a few days, the ducklings have a small pond to swim around on. They're fed on a diet of chick crumbs, which is high in protein and easy to digest. And when the ducklings are about 2 weeks old, they're moved into an outdoor pen. There's a shelter in each pen, which the ducklings sit under whenever they want to be in the shade, and again at night time. They also still have access to a heat lamp if the weather is bad. They're now fed on grower pellets, and their fluffy down is quickly replaced with feathers. By the age of 8 weeks, the ducklings are fully grown. On average, over 700 duck eggs are collected and put in our incubators every year at Martin Mere, making a fantastic duckling experience.